Image editing is a series of small steps, but when we add them all together, those small steps can make a significant difference to our images. One of those steps is to correct lens distortion and chromatic aberration. Both of these problems are caused by the known distortion within all of our lenses. The good news is that because lens distortion is known and can be measured, then it can be corrected in our software with just 2 tick boxes under the heading of optics. So let's go to the optics and find these 2 tick boxes. There they are. If you look at the center portion of this image as I tick and untick the Use Profile Corrections, you can clearly see the difference. This is before the lens has been corrected. This is after. Now, quite often, you don't even notice it all that much. It depends, but sometimes with wide-angle lenses, we can see a curve to the horizon. But out of both of these tick boxes, I think the Remove Chromatic Aberration is probably more important. So let me show you what chromatic aberration is. To do that, if we go to this tree here, this image is not bad, is it? It's fairly well exposed, it's got nice colour, it would be a really good place to start any image editing we think it needs. But let me click and drag over the fine twigs in that tree. Now, if we move around here, you can quite clearly see the chromatic aberration. Down each of these branches, we've got a fringing in cyan and in, what's the 2 colours it gives me? Cyan and magenta. I forgot for a moment what colour I'm looking at. But you can quite clearly see it strongly against these branches, less so in the fine branches. The problem with this issue is later on we're almost certain to want to increase the vibrance or saturation. And of course when we do that we just make the problem worse. Remember, double click any of these arrowheads to reset them back to their default setting. But look what happens if we just tick this box. The chromatic aberration is taken away so effectively. Let me hit Ctrl-0 to fit this back on screen. It's so effective that over the years I just tick those 2 boxes and continue. I don't even look anymore because I have so much confidence in them. Now, over the years I've noticed that many amateurs don't address this aberration problem. It's a big mistake to do that because when your image is maybe used in a camera club situation, when it's enlarged onto a screen in a darkened room, that's when you're going to see the chromatic aberration, and if your images are being judged, the judge will almost certainly pick it up. Now maybe the author doesn't notice the chromatic aberration, or perhaps they do and think it's going to be too big a problem to fix, but in actual fact it's one of the simplest. This video is less than 4 minutes long and we could end it here. But let's use a couple of minutes to set up an automatic setting for Remove Chromatic Aberration and Profile Corrections. A preset that's going to remember those 2 settings and apply automatically to any raw file we open up. Bearing in mind some modern cameras can correct for this within the camera software. Now what we need to do here is to go to our presets, that's this icon here. And just here I'm going to create a new preset. Let's call it Optics. And over on the right hand side I'm going to remove all the checks from all of those options because the only one we want is the Optics. When I click OK, we'll see the preset over here. If I go to this option, I can click the star becomes flooded with white and it becomes a favourite. Then if I right click on that item, I can set it as a global raw default. Now I'm going to click done and I'm going to close down bridge. Now the reason I close down bridge is because it needs to be relaunched to read the changes we've just made. So I can do that from my bottom bar. I'll go to a different location. Let's go to 2017. I'll just pick something at random. Let's go to Byron Bay. There's a few images. Let me go to this one and I'm going to right click. And if we go down to develop settings, now we can see the optics is here. But I don't need to click the optics there because if I double click this image and it opens up into Camera Raw, the two tick boxes we need are done for us. So if we want to do that, we could now close down the optics and effectively forget it, because every time we open up an image, it's going to be fixed. Now, given that it only takes a short time to set up this preset, it's worth doing at this early stage to speed up our editing process. Let's rely on the power of Photoshop where it works really well, so we can concentrate more on the other editing techniques that will improve the impact and appeal of our images. That's our goal, right? Can I just remind you here that I am open to suggestions for content of these videos or any queries you might have, which may need a short video to explain. While I'm trying to keep these videos in some logical order and also easy to follow, if you've got any suggestions, please, I'd like to hear them. But I'll see you in the next video.